From Viking invasions to Roman occupation, from countryside to coast, from historic wars between the English and the Scots to modern warfare, from a Scottish queen to a gypsy queen, from an artist from Manchester who regularly painted here to a local heroine who became a national icon, to boots discarded from weary walkers, from churches and abbeys to the ruins of priories, and stunning scenery on the way. Join us over the next few weeks as we follow the route of the stunning Northumberland 250. Day 3, another nice park up, and Chef is making toast for breakfast. We have very different attitudes to toast. Keith likes his cremated and cold before he puts the butter on. I like mine lightly done and the butter on while the toast is still hot so it melts in. Who's right and who's wrong?
I'm always right.
If this video is going to be called anything else, it should be called Crimes and Consequences, and you'll see why as the day goes on. First stop of the day is here.
Winter's Jibbit. Way back in 1791, a lady called Margaret Crozier lived in a village called Raw.
Believing her to be rich, a man called William Winter plus two female accomplices, Jane and Eleanor Clark, broke into her house, murdered her and stole her things. The three were finally apprehended and they were hung in Newcastle. Winter's body was then hung in chains on this gibbet, oh, not this gibbet, this is a replica, for many years, until even his clothes had rotted away. The gibbet was made for him alone, and no one else ever hung from it. Finally, the gibbet was removed, but in 1867 a replica was built and had a wooden mannequin hanging from it for many years. And this is actually the third replica of it.
Nobody's hanging from it at the moment.
Not at the moment, no. And we were a bit bad because we were going to come up earlier so we could get the sunrise with the gibbet, but we didn't.
Looks like there's a sign there.
Plaque,
well.
yeah.
We can get in the other side.
Right. Steng Cross, is that?
Yeah.
Winter's Gibbet, Steng Cross.
It's not easy to read.
It isn't.
But I think it's the story that we've just said.
Oh, this is just a memorial stone. In memory of Jack Anderson and Dorothy Anderson. It was a nice sunrise this morning, wasn't it?
It was. I was out with the dogs and saw it peeping over the trees. He's a big boy.
He is. We're a little bit off the route again now. We've come into Morpeth. And the bull up there is called the Black Prince. It stands high above the Sanderson Arcade, which we're about to walk into. He stands 8 inches taller than the average bull. and was commissioned as a reminder of the days when Morpeth was the second largest livestock market in England.
Is it Aberdeen Angus?
When we sit down and have a coffee, we'll tell you more about that. This arcade was opened by Joanna Lumley, Dame Joanna Lumley, in November 2009. It's very nice. Do like an arcade.
Well, this is the centre of Morpeth, isn't it?
It looks like it is, doesn't it, with the drinking fountain or whatever there. Plaque in recognition of the munificent gift of this building and adjoining property to the town of Morpeth by the Right Honourable James Baron Joycey in 1919. Heck of a gift. This key, so it looks like it's centre of town because there's a drinking fountain. And that looks like a moots hall type thing again, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is water drinking fountain erected by public subscription in 1885.
Again, that word. It's not a word I know.
What?
Munificence. It was on that other building in recognition of the munificence of Richard Welch Holland, Esquire, of the city of York. I'll have to Google that word, unless you know what it is.
No.
Who founded the Mary Holland Annuity and Coal Fund in this town in 1881. Say, this looks like what you'd call a moot hall.
Yeah. And that, it was repaired in 1760. So it's a bit old.
Yeah. Charles Pye, Thomas Softly, bailiffs. So I wonder how old it was before it needed repair.
Exactly.
We're heading into Carle Park. When we're in there, we're going to tell you about a lady called Emily Wilding Davidson.
Thank you. Quite a nice river.
It is. Morpeth's got quite a history. King John granted a market charter to the town in 1200. By the mid-1700s, it was one of the main market towns in northern England. By the mid-18th century, as we mentioned before when we saw the bull, it was one of the key cattle markets in England. They were selling cattle driven by drovers from over the border in Scotland. In 1215, the town was badly damaged by fire, which was set by the barons during the First Barons' War in an attempt to block the military operations of King John. And then another war that I've not heard of, in the 1543 to 1551 8 Years' War of the Rough Wooing. You heard of the Rough Wooing?
Wooing?
Wooing, yeah.
No.
Morpeth was occupied by a garrison of Italian mercenaries who pestered such a little street standing on the highway by killing deer and withholding payments for food. You wouldn't think Italians would come and occupy a town in northern England, would you really?
No.
And Carle Park apparently has one of the only 4 floral clocks in England. I don't know what a floral clock is.
Don't you?
No, what's a
Which-
floral clock?
Floral clock.
Yeah.
It's a clock
Yeah.
made up of flower on a flower bed.
All right, but
Yeah, we've
why
seen one.
why only one of 4?
I don't know.
Carle Park has 1,000 years of history. Har Hill, which is in front of us, just there, was the site of a Motte and Bailey castle in the 11th century, until Morpeth Castle was built around 200 years later.
And that's behind it. By looking at the map.
Apparently, if we climb to the top, which we're going to have to do, we can get a fantastic view of the town.
The sun's still trying.
It is.
There's a bit of warmth in it when you get in the sunshine, but
The nights are cold now, though, aren't they,
Yeah.
in the van?
yeah.
Having to tuck you in, aren't I, Keith? I see the castle. I think it's the castle.
I'm not sure whether it is or not.
No, it looks like it from where I'm stood, but you've got
Yeah.
up higher, haven't you?
Yeah.
The Hoare Hill Mound Castle was made by William de Merley, 1st Baron of Morpeth, in 1080, using a natural mound, steepening its sides and cutting it off from a westerly spur. And a timber stockade encircled the mound top and enclosed a timber tower house, while a small gate tower defended the access by a footbridge over the cut in the western spur in all probability. So not sure. The attendant bailey, a courtyard with domestic buildings, could have been attached at the riverside or detached, they're really not sure,
No.
on nearby Castle Hill. The first castle was burnt by William Rufus in 1095 and by King John in 1216, after which the stone castle across the Poston Burn ravine was built.
So
It could be that
it
then.
could be that one. It doesn't look like much of a castle, to be honest.
There again, we're from Nottingham.
Right.
Nottingham Castle's not a castle, is it?
No. That's
Just-
more of a townhouse.
It looks like a castle just the top, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
Don't know.
it must be that, I would have thought. So that's not Morpeth Castle.
No, we just
because
come
we've just
round
seen
the
a
corner.
sign.
Morpeth Court. But anyway, this is the statue we've come to look at.
This lady was quite a character. Emily Wilding Davidson. She was an English suffragette who fought for the rights of women and votes for women. She was arrested on 9 occasions, went on hunger strike 7 times, and she was force-fed 49 times. And she died after being hit by the King George V's horse, Anma. I've heard of Anma.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of a different horse that belongs to the Queen Mother?
Uh-oh.
In 1913 at the Derby, when she walked onto the track during the race. She had been a real militant in her time, in her life. And her actions included breaking windows, throwing stones, which were quite minor for her, setting fire to post boxes, planting bombs, and, on 3 occasions, hiding overnight in the Palace of Westminster. Though it doesn't say what she did when she hid in the Palace of Westminster. Her funeral was held in London. A procession of 5,000 suffragettes accompanied her coffin, and 50,000 people lined the route of the funeral procession. But her coffin was then transported by train back here to Morpeth, where it was interred in the family plot. It says, she knew they would come with a funnel and pipe, that they would come mob-handed, restraining her body but strengthening her conviction with misguided methods. Small, brutal victories achieving the greater defeat, and she was content. Quite a lady.
Yes.
And there's a photograph of her body after it had been hit by the horse, which was at Epsom on the 4th of June 1913. And I didn't know there were medals. There's a picture of her. It says Emily wearing her suffragette medals, which were buried with her.
By the statue was Carle Park, Avery. And it was opened in 1929. There was budgerigars, cockatiels. Don't know whether you'll see them, but you certainly hear them. Daryl's found out something about a cockatiel that he didn't know.
I do. I used to have a cockatiel called Spike.
Yes.
But I'm just reading here. It says that breeding usually only takes place after a spell of rainfall. They must like it moist. They're halfway between a parakeet and a cockatoo.
And found in Australia. So again, parakeets and cockatoo, did you say?
Yeah, halfway between a parakeet and a cockatoo.
So, I'm sometimes fascinated how species evolved, separated so far, in the different continents.
It's like you said that about horses, haven't you?
Yeah. How they evolved to similar traits. There's a nice one. It's nice that there's our glass windows, so you can actually see them see the birds without looking through the wire mesh. There's lots of little finches and things in here.
There's one over here building a nest. I'm not sure. There's one here building a nest. It keeps collecting bits of chippings and stuff, and it's taking them up there. And
oh yeah.
Don't know what it is. It's formally opened in 1929.
And they're all donated.
Yeah.
It says by members of the public. So when you heard Floral Clock, did you think about dandelions?
I don't know what I thought. Don't shake your head. He's shaking his head behind that camera. I don't know what I thought, but...
Well, this is a floral clock. The guys are just planting it up again. But obviously a clock mechanism in a flower bed.
I have never heard
everybody knew what a floral clock was.
No.
You're never too old to learn.
No. You've taught me a few things this week.
Yes.
I didn't know. Keith was laughing at me the other day when I was putting a t-shirt on. I didn't know. I knew the label went at the back. And then he said about the label inside
is always on the left hand side.
I didn't know that. So I know you're still a teacher at heart, my love.
Yes. Yeah. Did you say one of 5 in the country?
4.
One of 4 in the country. But Southsea had one. I don't know if it still does. Yeah. There's a lot to Morpeth, isn't there?
There is.
Better take the cap off.
That helps. The old church over there has been converted into flats.
Well, I don't think it has. I think it's just the way they've done the roof.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because it's still got a church sign outside when we looked. A weir.
Is that because it's tiny and weird?
These stanchions look like an old bridge, don't they?
They do, don't they? Yeah.
The old bridge is from 1869.
Mm. What I do like about us doing YouTube is that when, because we research places rather than just visiting the town, we do some research and find out about the place, people who were from here. So. Daryl likes bagpipes. I love bagpipes.